The inner and outer tie rods connect the steering rack to the wheel carrier on the 991 Gen 1. They also set the toe in or out for the front suspension. Changing them means that you will need to get the vehicle aligned after you perform this work. Measure everything carefully so you can get things close enough to drive the vehicle to the alignment shop. The outer tie rod, blue arrow, connects to the inner tie rod, green arrow, via an adjustable screw-in fitting, and the front of the wheel carrier via a ball joint, red arrow. Use an 18mm wrench to undo the nut on the top of the ball joint. If it spins, use a T40 torque in the stud to keep it from turning, red arrow. Use a ball joint separator and separate the tie rod from the wheel carrier. With the tie rod separated, you can now remove the air deflector the tie rod passes through. Release the two clips, red arrows, from behind and remove the air deflector from the diagonal arm. This image shows the joint between the outer rod and the inner. If you are replacing the outer rod with a factory rod, it is a fixed length. Some people like to count how many turns it takes to remove it, while others measure the distance from the locking nut on the inner rod to the base. We mark the nut on the inner rod, red arrow. Either way, you're going to have to get the vehicle aligned after this job. You are just trying to get it close so you can drive it to the alignment shop. Use two 24mm wrenches and separate the inner and outer rods. If you are replacing the inner rod, remove the locking nut, green arrow, and use a set of hose clamp pliers and remove the dust boot clamp, red arrow. If you have the factory clamp on the inner boot, you will have to separate it with a flathead screwdriver and replace the clamp with a hose clamp. With the boot removed, locate the proper fitting for the end of the rod on your Lissel tool, red arrow. Use the Lissel tool to release and remove the inner tie rod. It will be on there pretty tight. Make sure as you turn it that you are directly lined up with the steering rack. Make sure to measure the new rod with the old one and make a mark. You're going to need to remove the nut to install the boot and clamp. Installation is the reverse of removal. Place a small amount of blue Loctite on the threads that connect the inner rod to the steering rack, red arrow. Make sure to put some anti-seize on the threads between the inner and outer rods. Torque the ball joint to 75 Newton meters or 56 foot-pounds. Now get the car's alignment done. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another video in this series.